Welcome to the most legendary Star Wars story ever told, where we dive into the rich lore and epic adventures of the Old Republic era. I'll be following the canonical path the best I can, so join me as we unravel the mysteries of the Force, confront the dark side, and make choices that will shape the fate of the galaxy. Whether you're a long-time fan or new to this classic RPG, get ready for an immersive experience filled with iconic characters, thrilling battles, and unforgettable moments. For the first time, I will play on my PC with mods that will change my experience for the better. From the research I have done, I will try my best for the new fans of the era to tell the role-playing story as accurately as possible. Although a canonical playthrough, I feel like this does mean finishing all quests that I happen to come across, so I'll be doing just that. Another thing to mention before I start is the appearance. There are a few pieces relating to weapon choice and apparel that, from my understanding, are the only things that aren't 100% visually canon, but the story I tell will be. But of course, this isn't a trophy hunting video. This is me being eager to canon Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic.
You won't be so eager in a moment, I promise you.
For the canonical playthrough, we pick a character popularly known as the Mullet Man. And as for classes, there isn't a definitive choice. When starting the game, we are on board a Republic ship called the Endar Spire, currently being ambushed by a Sith battle fleet. It's like any other start to a game in which we have an introductory section teaching us the basic mechanics of the game, and no role-playing choices to make at this time. The game shows us multiple different ways to make our way through the map, using terminals to overload devices in other rooms to take out multiple enemies, or to repair droids, taking the baddies out instead. The ship is now being overrun by Sith. We must evacuate and head to the escape pods. The aim is to meet a soldier called Cartho Nasi, who assists over a communicator. With me is a fellow soldier, Trask, who lets us know that one of our primary duties is to guarantee the survival of a Jedi named Bastila, who is the commanding officer on the Endar Spire. On our travels to the pods, we encounter a dark Jedi. This is where Trask sacrifices himself, so we can make our way to the escape pod safely. Arriving just in time, we are told Bastila's pod is already gone. With no reason to stay around here, we take the last escape pod, where we will hide out on the planet below. An ambiguous cutscene plays, showing a woman we are yet to know is Bastila, battling a Sith as we thrash around in our sleep. Finally awaking in an apartment, we are greeted by Carth, who tells us that we have been slipping in and out of consciousness for the last couple of days due to the impact of the landing we had took. He managed to find an abandoned place for us to rest for the time being. Conversating with him, we get an update on where we are. We've landed on a planet called Terrace. Terrace is under Sith control. Their fleet is orbiting the planet and have declared martial law. They have imposed a planet-wide quarantine, predominantly knowing that there are Republic survivors on the planet. As he looks through our character's service records, we understand a remarkable number of alien languages, and are good on the battlefield, of course. After having more context from the previous cutscene, we understand now that Bastila is the key to the whole Republic war effort. Bastila is no ordinary Jedi, however. She has a rare gift the Jedi call battle meditation. Her power can influence entire armies, a power she unfortunately didn't get time to use with the Endar Spire attack happening so fast. She was with the strike team that killed Darth Revan, Malik's Sith Master. Malik escaped the trap that killed Darth Revan and is now the new Dark Lord of the Sith. Both Malik and Revan were once part of the Jedi Order, but against the wishes of the Jedi Council, they went to battle in the Mandalorian War at the Outer Rim. We are hinted that something happened out there, something that potentially corrupted them and drew them over to the dark side. The aim now is to try and find Bastila on Terrace. Just like any RPG, we can be good or bad. As this is a canon playthrough, we will be on the light side for this run. Also, there are side quests and activities to do throughout the game. A few things quickly to mention that we can do on Terrace are playing a card game called Bazak, very similar to Blackjack. We can also collect bounties, although they give you dark side points depending on how you handle the situation. Another fun thing we can do is duel in a non-fatal arena, with beating all of the participants leading to popularity when talking to others, and gaining the attention of one of the greatest deathmatch contestants on Terrace, named Bendak Starkiller. As deathmatches are outlawed, we can challenge him after becoming champion, but we will have to wait for it to be set up, due to it being illegal, building the tension for 8-year-old me playing the game for the first time, eventually leading to you going one-on-one and killing him. Along with these, we get general quests we find interacting with people of the world. This is the planet we'll be on the longest in the game. The developers are keen for us to create a bond with the planet, so we are given lots to do to build for a big payoff later. From the clips we've seen so far, Terrace looks like a massive metropolis above ground. The rich and nobles live in the upper city, and the lower we go, the grittier it gets. The poor, aliens and criminal gangs live in the lower city. You'd think that's it, but there's actually a class below that, an undercity, a place where no one wants to be. Only rumour of a promised land keeps them going, even though pretty much all bar one old man in the village believing that this supposed place is just a myth. Other than the terrible living conditions, a horrible zombie werewolf rabies-like infection is prominent. If infected, you will have little time remaining before you lose all control and eventually turn into a mutant monstrosity named the Rat Ghoul. Throughout your time in the Undercity, you can find a cure and also find datapads to collect. When all are found, they form a path for those to go and travel to the once rumoured promised land. With the cure serum, you can either sell it for dark side points or credits, but as we are trying to do a light side playthrough, we give it to the doctor in the upper city for free. After getting necessary equipment to go down each level to get from the upper to lower city, there are many ways to get a Sith outfit. From the lower to undercity, we will need authorization papers. Wearing just the suit this time won't do. First time in the lower city, we see two rival gangs fighting, the Hidden Becks and the Black Vulkars. The Vulkars do come across as the nasty ones who attack you on sight, whereas the Hidden Becks help people in need. Exploring the lower city, we are introduced to lots of characters, such as the intimidating bounty hunter, Carlo Nord, who works for a crime lord named Davik Khan. Do not talk to him though, as he will obliterate your whole party, leading you to reload in a save. Davik is a name you'll hear a lot due to people living in fear of him, and the association with the bounty hunting quests, where we can actually pay off people's debts and fake deaths, avoiding dark side points and earning money. Through talking to a young Twi'lek named Mission Veo, along with her Wookiee friend Zalbar, they educate us on the world. We find out that the leader of the Hidden Becks, Gadon Thek, can help in exchange for the Sith suit. With a bit of conversing to enter the gang's base, we managed to get the pass, but with my game exploit, I managed to get it for free and keep the Sith suit. During our conversation with Gadon, we are hinted that Bastila may have been captured by the Vulkars, who plan to give her away to the winner in the Swoop Racing Championship. The Hidden Becks have also been betrayed, and the new Vulkar leader, Brejik, was Gadon's adoptive son. Brejik also stole the Beck's prototype accelerator, that when added to a swoop bike, will pretty much make it the front runner to win the time trial race. Assuming that we will find Bastila at the base, we agreed to help them get the swoop part back in time for the race. We will, however, need to go into the Undercity sewers to find an entrance and infiltrate the Vulca base. Back in the Undercity, we find a distressed mission, who tells us that Zalba has been captured. He is being held in the sewers, so we can get 2 new party members. After saving Zalba, he swears a life debt to you. A pretty big deal in the Wookiee delicacy. A big problem we come up against next is facing a Rancor just outside the Vulca base. Reading the datapad on a severed arm, we find an easy way to take it out by putting a grenade in a corpse pile with an odor to attract the beast, making it eat the grenade, killing it instantly, leaving us to take out the Vulca guards and sneak through their base, taking groups out, freeing slaves, scavenging further, leading us to a battle, eventually picking up the swoop part we came for. No Bastila in sight though. Returning to the Beck base, they don't want to risk their own gang member using the prototype swoop part, so we'll need to do the race, risking our own life in the process of the untested prototype. Through multiple attempts due to a back and forth between the 2 gangs beating each other's times, I managed to eventually win the championship and are awarded Bastila as our prize. But Bredgick confronts us, unable to accept defeat, and accuses us of cheating due to an unfair advantage of the prototype accelerator, even though he stole it from his adopted father and attempted to use it for himself, causing a fight to ensue, along with having Bastila herself escaping the cage she was kept in, culminating to Bredgick's death. Returning to the hideout, you have another vision. A continuation of the one before, ending with Revan dying due to the shots from another cruiser being aimed at Revan's ship's bridge. After awakening, things are tense between the party due to having no plan after saving Bastila. Being a Jedi, Bastila comes across as quite self-assertive to a borderline arrogant degree. After planning on asking around to get more information with getting off Terrace, Bastila can see something is troubling us. This is where we open up about the visions we've been having, making Bastila think we could potentially be Force sensitive, a matter she believes is best left for the Jedi Council, if we manage to escape Terrace that is. With our notoriety from winning the swoop race, Candaros Ordo, a bounty hunter who works for Davik, and a person who we have seen during our explorations, sends a messenger telling us to meet him in the cantina. In talking to Candaros, we see that he wants out with working for the crime lord Davik, and aims to leave the planet before the Sith do something even more drastic. His plan is to get a droid to hack into opening a door to the Sith base, to then get authorization codes they can use to get in and out of orbit, as of course the whole planet is on lockdown. Although Bastila is reluctant, there is no other idea we can think of right now, so the plan is set. Get the T3M4 droid, who is now a party member, hack through the security and open the door to enter the facility, take out the Sith, free captured civilians, go against a super tall droid, protecting an elevator, battle a Sith governor, get the launch codes, return to Candaros as he convinces Davik to welcome us to his place as a potential new hiring, and wait for all this to blow over. As we head over to Davik's headquarters, we finally get to see Darth Malak for the first time. Growing impatient of his Sith army being unable to find the escaped Republic and Bastila, he sets an order to get his cruisers in line to bombard the planet. We finally meet the crime lord, Davik Kang, with his personal bodyguard, Kalo Nord, who we meet again. They try to tease Candaros by saying he's gone soft, as it looks like he's trying to get us in to team with him, to make things a little easier working for Davik, which he plays along with for now. Mentioning our exploits we have done on Terrace as the two leave to do a background check on the party. Now alone in the headquarters, we aim to find a way to get to Davik's ship, the Ebon Hawk, said to be the fastest ship in the galaxy. Exploring for any way to access the locked hangar doors, we find an ex-pilot in the massage room. Freeing the tortured pilot, he rewards us with the codes to access the hangar on board the ship. This is when the Sith attack starts bombarding the planet. Here we come across Davik and Calo Nord. Just by seeing us in the hangar, they know exactly what we're here for, and we battle them as the Sith begin blitzing the entire planet. Finally killing Davik, Calo Nord pulls out a thermal detonator in an attempt to kill everyone, but is taken out by fallen debris. From here we rush to our new ship, the Ebon Hawk, and pick up the rest of our party as we narrowly escape terrorists, avoiding the inevitable death that the billions of civilians below will suffer from by the hands of the Sith. Fleeing the Sith forces, the last thing we need to do is take care of the squad that is hunting us using the turret. Once done, Carth engages the hyperdrive, sending us off to Dantooine. Once off the ship, Bastila returns from visiting the Jedi Council, letting us know that they wish to speak to our character, leaving the rest of our party out of the loop. This is where I'll briefly introduce character quests, focusing on Carth for now. Throughout our time on Terrace, Carth seems to lack trust with us. We later find out that he has been betrayed by an old comrade, Sol Karath, who had then joined the Sith, giving them codes to sneak through detection and attack the base Carth was stationed at, killing hundreds of thousands of Republic soldiers and civilians. He wants to be in the know. Him not knowing the plan leaves him feeling vulnerable to be betrayed. No matter how much we try to ease his worry, even when telling him the plan, he has more questions. Over time, we need to build his trust, but we will delve into that with the other party members later. Bear in mind that this isn't the Jedi High Council. Like the films, they are on Coruscant. This council are leaders of this training enclave on Dantooine. Meeting with them, they sense a very strong connection with the Force in our character, and the idea of us being trained in the ways of the Force is thrown out there. Usually, they don't train adults, but this is a special case. As it turns out, Bastila and us share these visions that we have seen so far, just like the one we had when we first came to the planet, of Revan and Malak in a ruin, somewhere on Dantooine, leading to the Star Forge. The Council educate us that this shared vision is due to a Force bond between us. With careful thought, the Council do accept us into Jedi training, where we go into a montage. With the weeks of training ending, we are now an apprentice. For us to reach the rank of Padawan, we must complete a few linear story events before we can progress. The first test is to remember the Jedi Code and recite it to Master Jar. Successfully completing that, we talk to Master Dorak, who educates us on 3 types of Jedi, with their respective class and colour of lightsaber, which we can change in the workbench later if we choose to. Up first is Blue, Jedi Guardian. It's basically a soldier class. Strong, high health, stuff like that. The second is Yellow, Jedi Sentinel, a balance between the other 2 classes. Third is Green, Jedi Consular, a typical caster, high force per level, but lacking in melee attacks. I find that being a Jedi Sentinel suits the Canon character best. Heading to the workbench, we craft our lightsaber and choose our force powers. Now I've been saving on leveling up since level 2, so I can have more force power options each time I level up. The next and final task is to abolish a dark side corruption in the Grove. We can now free roam around Dantooine and leave the Jedi Enclave. Whilst on this quest, we come across others that we find around Dantooine's lush plains, such as finding a missing droid that turns out to be a widow's last gift from her late husband, avenging a grieving father after his daughter was murdered, by taking care of Mandalorian raiders, with the leader being a notorious Jedi Slayer. Near here is a crystal cave we can delve into, collecting crystals to buff our lightsaber, making our attacks more powerful. Exploring further, we can get involved with a murder investigation, one you must not be too quick to jump to conclusions with. And finally, a Romeo and Juliet feud between two families, with the son from one and the daughter from another falling in love, concluded by our character playing a mediator and having the fathers of the respective families decided on creating a new estate for the newly engaged couple to live in. But the main task is to clear the dark side from the grove. As we arrive, we see someone meditating, a dark Jedi named Juhani. Noticing our arrival, she uses the Force to put the two party members that are with us in stasis. Getting enough damage on her triggers a conversation. She is shocked with how much stronger we are than her, even after she had embraced the dark side. At this point, we can either kill her or convince Juhani to redeem herself and come back to the light. She is filled with guilt by striking her master down, severely injuring them in training. Juhani then left the Enclave to embrace the dark side. Our character manages to get Juhani to return to the Enclave. The Council is exceedingly grateful to see Juhani come back to the Jedi Order, and praises our character for his assistance. They also inform Juhani that her master, Quattro, was not dead after all, but had only been injured in their duel, and that duel itself was Quattro's last trial for her Padawan. A bit suspect for the Jedi Council to challenge Juhani like this, manipulating her just for a lesson. Even Karth voices his opinion on this. Now that we have cleansed the grove, we earn the rank of Padawan. The last task given to us by the Council is to go and investigate the ancient ruins that Master Dorak had recognised from the description of our vision. Entering the dark, primitive construction, we communicate with an ancient droid. It educates us that to open the main locked door, we must figure out how to access the old computers and solve a basic puzzle. Now with the sealed entrance unlocked, we see a contraption that is released into a form of a star map. The first one of the game that we find. It's a portion of a map that leads us to other maps around the galaxy, which if we then put together, should reveal the location of the legend that is the Star Forge. This is what Revan and Malak had found in the vision we had. We are yet to know what the Star Forge actually is, but we do think it has something to do with the massive Sith armada that came out of nowhere. Returning to the Council with our findings, they have no records or knowledge of the Star Forge. With the meeting concluding, the Council are in agreement that the Star Forge must be found, believing that it's surely a powerful tool of the dark side. Although a newly ranked Padawan, we are sent on our way to explore the galaxy to find each star map. There is a route for the Canon way that we will follow, but I also want to trigger some quests. Firstly, we find a young girl who speaks Mandalorian and was a stowaway on our ship. Learning a basic level of her language, we find out that we need to bring her back to Dantooine, returning her back to the Guardian that we ran into earlier, after he had stopped us to ask if we had seen a girl that fits her description. Inviting him onto the ship, it is the girl that he's looking for, and we earn light side points, returning her back safely home. First we head to Korriban, where we stumble into a member of a cartel, who asks for some spice Davik was meant to sell to him. After agreeing to get it for him and getting paid a hefty sum, we then agree for him to put a mysterious object on our ship to deliver to a hut on Tatooine, the first planet we'll officially start on. We are then warned not to open the box. But of course, being curious, we open the box and enter a strange realm we find out is a prison by talking to the only other being in our vicinity. This creature has been imprisoned for tens of thousands of years. Building a bit of sympathy for it, we find out that it's been so long since its imprisonment that it can't remember its name or what it was even imprisoned for. His physical body is long dead by now, so he wants ours. and offers to let us leave if we can beat him solving numerous riddles he gives to us. The past few people who have entered ran away into the light, never to be seen or heard from again. With no choice, we have to beat it in a competition of trying to figure out each other's riddles. With some thought and a few rounds, we finally beat him. He is a man of his word and sends us back into the physical realm, ready to be brought to the hut on Tatooine, one of the more strange quests of KOTOR. We aren't exactly sure as to why a hut would want this, perhaps as a form of punishment to the people who don't pay their debts on time. Maybe it's best not to know. Delivering it to the hut, he is curious if we opened the box. Saying that we did, he is shocked that we managed to make it out, but has some slight doubts believing us. This quest ends with us getting another hefty sum of credits, after force persuading him into giving us extra after entering what we now know is a prison. As we head for Dantooine, a scene plays on the Leviathan, where Lord Malak confronts Sol as to how Bastila and the crew escaped Terrace. Curious as to how Sol knows this information, he confirms that there was an eyewitness. Calo Nord lives. Not only did he survive the debris falling on him, but also the destruction of Terrace. We haven't seen the last of this notorious bounty hunter yet, it seems. Pretty much all of our companions have a side quest for us to follow if we talk to them enough. Before we left Dantooine again, we surprisingly ran into Lena, Mission's brother, Griff's now ex-girlfriend. The last she heard of him, he was still working in the mines on Tatooine, still trying to get rich. Mission is standoffish with Lena, and we are given more backstory about Griff. It seems like he is a person always getting into trouble, receiving loans for his schemes of easy enrichment. We'll have to keep an eye out for him on Tatooine. We are also approached by a woman who informs Bastila that her mother has become ill and is actually in the local cantina. Bastila and her mother didn't have the best relationship before she left to join the Jedi Order. Her relationship with her father was more favourable. Meeting in the cantina, Bastila is told that her father has passed in the Dune Sea. Her mother, Helena, is also very ill, although we aren't told what she's dying of. Helena asks us if we can find the father's holocron, so she has something to remember him by. Bastila is suspicious, but we agree to help find it. Now, we need to find a way out of the city of Anchorhead. For us to be allowed out of the city, we need a hunting license, which we can get from the Circa Corporation, a galaxy-spanning business that controls the interests on multiple planets. The Circa Corporation will become more sketchy throughout the game, and that's putting it mildly. The main thing the company is focused on is having great public relations. On Tatooine, they are predominantly focused on mining, although after talking to a Circa rep, the company is struggling due to there being nothing to actually mine. The Sand People aren't making anything easier either, as they will attack on sight. Agreeing to help clear the Sand People, we are granted a hunting license, and are now able to head out of the city, but not before we purchase an HK-47 unit droid, who can supposedly communicate with the Sand People. We find this out after being approached by an alien, who may think that peace can be a viable option. At the gates, there is a Jawa, who you agree to help find his friends that have been taken by the Sand People. With the vision showing that the Starforge map is in some cave, we at least know that it's somewhere that isn't in the never-ending, deadly Dune Sea. With the harsh realities of getting attacked in the Dune Sea constantly, we managed to take the clothing of the Sand People that attacked us to see if we can sneakily infiltrate their camp after some exploration. Entering their base, we are instantly noticed, and with HK-47 translating to avoid us getting attacked straight away, we are taken to the Sand People Chieftain. This is where we try to solve the issue of them attacking the miners peacefully. The Chieftain states that this land is their home, and Circa with all of their machines had invaded it. This Sand People clan stopping the attacking completely will not happen. But they already decided that they are moving camps further away from the city of Anchorhead. They do agree, however, to lessen the attacks planned. The only way the deal will happen is if you bring them some moisture vaporators. This is for their travels, but the clan doubt that you will ever return. Purchasing the items they need and bringing it back to the Sand People hideout, they are surprised of your return. However, we are rewarded with a number of things. The first being the Chieftain's Stick, which we can either keep or sell, as well as having the current slaves in their camp released. Also given to us is a map of the Eastern Dune Sea, where the cave containing the star map is located, but is currently being occupied by the Krayt Dragon, the alpha predator of Tatooine. Going to the slave quarters, we free the Jawas, and also run into Mission's brother. Lena's description of him fits well, as we finally see the person that he is. It seems that Mission championed her older brother Griff, when in reality, he is just not a good person. We agree to meet Griff at the port where the Ebon Hawk is docked, after we finish up on the planet with a potential job offer. Making our way to the Eastern Dune Sea, we meet a hunter named Comad Fortuna, who we ran into at the Hunter's Lodge just after landing. Before our conversation with him, we see an impatient hunter rushing in to take on the Krayt Dragon. We'll be sure not to do this tactic, as it results in an instant death. Comad has set up mines that will kill the beast dwelling in the caves, but we need a way to bait it out. Having bantha fodder on us, we can shepherd the bantha. Using them as bait, we get close enough to lure the dragon out of the caves. As a reward for the assist, Comad gives us a Krayt Dragon Pearl, which can be added to our lightsaber, making it even more powerful than before. Looting the caves, we find rare items such as a violet crystal for our lightsaber, Bastila's father's holocron, and finally the second star map of our adventure. But soon as we turn around, Calo Nord appears, ready to enact his revenge from the last time we faced him. There is no choice but to kill this famous bounty hunter. If we were to leave him again, he would surely just keep hunting us down. Now, back in the city of Anchorhead, we will round up on the finishing stages of all the quests we have partaken in. At the city gates, we are rewarded for saving the Jawas from slavery. Next up, we return the holocron to Bastila's mother, Helena. This ends up in a sincere conversation between the mother and daughter, finishing with Bastila giving her mother credits to travel to Coruscant to seek medical help, and also as a place for the two to meet after finishing the main objective that the council had given us. Back in the Circa offices, we sell the Sand People Chieftain's Stick to finish off the quest of them attacking the miners. Here, we also get back in contact with Griff. Mission's reunion with her brother doesn't go as well as Bastila's did with her mother, after she finds out that Griff decided to ditch her on Terrace, leaving her to find out what her brother is truly like. Even with giving him 100 credits, he doesn't seem to be happy with the amount you gave him. For Griff's next venture, he has made a deal with the Exchange to craft Teresian ale. Since Terrace got destroyed by the Sith, the beverage is limited, and to create it again will surely make a massive profit. The problem is, one of the ingredients needed is on Kashyyyk, so we'll need to go and find it before the Exchange turn up. Realising that Griff hasn't actually finished crafting the ale, like he stated he had. Coincidentally, on the Canon playthrough, the next planet is Kashyyyk. We are now on the lookout for the third star map, which is shown on the forest floor, where again the Circa Corporation is taken over. Deeper we go into the upper levels on the trees. The crew find that Circa have enslaved the Wookiee people, sending Zalbar into a rage, due to him seeing one of his people in a cage. He is already on edge as we find out soon after that he was banished from the planet by his chieftain father, because he attacked his own brother, Chundar, with his claws, something that is forbidden in the Wookiee delicacy. The reason for the attack was because Zalbar found out that Chundar was making deals with the Circa Corporation behind his father's back to enslave the Wookiees for various rewards. Being taken to a nearby village after Chundar is notified of Zalbar's appearance, he is then taken prisoner until we finish a job for him. We are given a task to kill a Madclaw in the Shadowlands, who has been attacking Circa employees. Madclaw is a term used by the Wookiees to mark a dishonoured member of their community. Since this is the only way we can gain access to the ground floor of the planet, where the star map seems to be, we reluctantly agree. Descending to the ground level, we make our way around the maze that is the Shadowlands. We come across an elderly man holding a lightsaber taking on the dangerous wildlife. After helping him and heading back to his home, we find out that he is a Grey Jedi named Jolee Bindo, a Force user who distanced themselves from the Jedi High Council and operated outside the structure of the Jedi Code, but is neither aligned to the light side or surrendered themselves to the dark side of the Force. Helping him remove the Circa setup blocking out wildlife in the area in a humane way by shutting down the emitters has him join our party, filling up the final slot for your squad. Travelling through the deeper part of the Shadowlands, we find bodies and equipment relating to some side quests, such as a beloved Wookiee with a datapad showing that he was actually assisting Circa operatives. A droid head giving evidence that a man named Eli had killed an honest worker's friends, so that he could practically use him as a slave. A Mandalorian hunt, where they cheaply attack anyone who put their weapons away, ending in you killing their leader. Now, onto the star map, we find that it is locked, and the only way to access it is to answer a few questions that the hologram asks us. The computer somehow recognises you, but is confused with your questioning as to how it knows you, so we will need to pass an evaluation test. Answering honestly, the light-sided way, we fail the evaluation, and will have to battle droids. Defeating them, the hologram unlocks access to the star map. It states that under duress, our emotions are easier to read for it to analyse who we are, leaving us with questions unanswered. But at least we have the star map. Now to search for the Madclaw to save Zalbar. This Madclaw turns out to be Freya, Chundar and Zalbar's father. He was exiled a few years after Zalbar, when he found out the truth about Chundar's betrayal, aligning with Zerka. Conversing with Freya, we are asked to retrieve Baka's blade from the ritual beast by luring it out, hanging the Viper Kinrath body from the vines. The importance of the Baka ceremonial blade is that it's a symbol of strength and courage of the Wookiee chieftain, passed down from generations. The blade is broken in half, with the blade part stuck in this beast. The other hilt side, Chundar is in possession of. Slaying the beast and removing this sword, we are able to offer it to Freya in aid of the Wookiee to reclaim his throne from his usurper son. A civil war between the Wookiees begins. People aligned with Freya, who see what Chundar really is, are able to sneak you into the village to confront the betrayer of their people. In choosing to try and end the civil war peacefully, Chundar has none of it, stating that he still has Circa support, and then engages in combat. There is no choice but to kill Chundar. In the wake of Chundar's death, the grief-stricken Freya and Zalbar have a heart-to-heart over the events that have taken place throughout the years. The two parts of the sword are then reunited, but at the request of Zalbar, Freya allows him to take possession of the sword, signifying that Zalbar will become chieftain when returning to the planet, but for now is still committing his life debt to us. After this event, all of the Wookiees chase Zerka out of Kashyyyk. Leaving Kashyyyk with the native species now back in power and escaped from slavery, our next destination is Manaan. We are returned to Malak, finding out that Calo Nord is now dead. With this news, Lord Malak summons his apprentice, Darth Abandon. the Dark Jedi who murdered Trask at the beginning of the story, after he had sacrificed his life to ensure our survival. Just when we think we have fled from being hunted, another, more dangerous enemy lurks behind us, following our trail. Landing on the next planet, we find that Manan is less filled with action and more about politics. It's the Selkath's home planet, where we spend our time on Otto City. The Selkath supply Kolto, which is a healing property to both the Republic and the Sith. Violence is not tolerated in this world, and if found guilty of illegal activity, you will be banned from the planet. Neither the Sith or Republic can afford to risk publicly attacking, otherwise the results are clearly catastrophic to their group. So a gorgeous city with a peaceful soundtrack to boot, but in the background is a high political tension between two factions at war. On our exploration, we find that the Sith try to instigate the Republic on every corner to bait them into being banned.
Don't make me laugh, you gutless simp. It's the destiny of weak-minded fools like you to be ruled over by the strong like we Sith.
After running into an unlikely survivor of terrorists and a chance meeting with Deadeye Duncan once again, we find out that he certainly has more luck than dueling skills, which encourages us to win some Megado in the Manan Pazak tournament. Along with that, we get the best time in the Manan Swoop Racing tournament and move on to the main quest. Going to the Republic Embassy, a long story short, a worker named Roland may know about the star map we seek and asks us to break into the Sith base to recover a stolen droid's data module. With multiple ways to be able to gain access to the Sith base, we retrieve the stolen data, as well as finding Sith taking in young Selkath in the hopes of grooming them up to become members of the Selkath government and take over the planet. Soon after leaving the Sith base, we are apprehended by the authorities and are taken to trial. Making sure that we let the court know we have a Sith datapad from the base, it will be a key factor in freeing us. Although what we did was illegal, mentioning the datapad lets the jury know that Dark Jedi from the Sith are training young Selkath, so that in a few generations they can rule over Manan, whilst secretly being a part of the Sith Order. This is vital for our freedom and protection from corruption. Free to return to the Republic Embassy, we give Roland back the stolen data. This is when we are alerted that seeking the star map won't be as simple as it seems. We are informed about an undersea station, where we encounter scared mercenaries, crazed Selkath, and rogue droids. And that's all just on the inside. Going to the seafloor, the Firaxa sharks will head straight towards whatever moves. From the few survivors, we find out that the workers' drills have awoken a mythical sea beast that has caused the Selkath to go insane from its screeches. It also is conveniently blocking our way to the star map. We have two choices to move the sea beast. Put a toxin into the harvesting machine and poison the water of Manan, which would most likely result in being banned from the planet, or reprogram the harvesting machine, causing it to explode, in turn making the sea beast become less enraged and return to its cave in the depths of the Kolto dig site. This would set the Republic back years, due to their primary machine digging for Kolto being destroyed. We decide to go with blowing up the harvesting machine to save the wildlife of the planet and reaching the star map we came for. Making our way through even more of a desolate station after the events taken place, we are approached by Darth Bandon. After his threats, we go into battle. He is not as tough as I expected, as my force powers easily overpower his mind, free to be struck down with my saber, finally getting revenge on what he did to Trask on the Endar Spire. Returning to the embassy and informing the Republic and Selkath what had taken place, we are again free to leave Manan. Only one more planet to visit, filled with dark energy, Korriban. On our way to the destination, we are intercepted by the Leviathan, Malik's ship, commanded by Saul Karath, Karth's nemesis. Stuck in their tractor beam, the party only have a few minutes to plan their escape of their inevitable capture. With the choice of using any party member to help everyone flee, I decided on using HK-47. He can easily take out Sith troopers, as well as hack into terminals to have environmental kills and scope out the area. As this has taken place, our character, Karth and Bastila are interrogated by Admiral Saul. His goal is to get the information about our mission and location of the Jedi training facility, which is on Dantooine. Bastila is the one punished as we painstakingly watch her torture, leading to us lying, feeding him the wrong information, but he was just testing us. Admiral Saul already knows where the Jedi training facility is, informing us that they have already found its location and has since been destroyed. After further interrogation, Saul Karath leaves, torturing the party, and mainly our character, even after I had passed out. Back to controlling HK-47, we find the location of the party and free them all. We then split into two groups. Me, Karth and Bastila will go to the bridge, whilst the rest of the party make their way back to the Ebon Hawk. There is a Sith we managed to force persuade to take us all the way to the bridge, but that doesn't stop us from backtracking, to farm more XP and come across glitches. Following the corridor leading up to the bridge itself, we encounter the Admiral. With threats of Malak on his way to the bridge, and multiple warnings to surrender, the inevitable fight begins. Clearing out the enemies, a cutscene plays, which a dying soul tells Karth a massive secret, getting the last laugh before passing away. Even after getting revenge for his family, Karth is enraged, beginning to argue with Bastila. With us having no context to the reason for this rage, we are forced to head to the Ebon Hawk as we have no time to waste. So close to the hangar, we are stopped by the Dark Lord himself. Darth Malak is here, and is the only thing between us and the Ebon Hawk. This is where we find out what exactly the big secret being kept from us is. One of the greatest plot twists in gaming history.
Even the combined power of the Jedi Council couldn't keep your true identity buried forever, could it?
The Jedi do not believe in killing their prisoners. No one deserves execution, no matter what their crimes.
The Council would not normally accept an adult for training, but this is a special case.
They say the Force can do terrible things to a mind. It can wipe away your memories and destroy your very identity.
Tatooine. Kashyyyk. Manaan. Korriban. Revan visited each of these worlds searching for clues to reveal the hidden location of the Starforge.
The lure of the dark side is difficult to resist. I fear this quest to find the Starforge could lead you down an all too familiar path.
What greater weapon is there than to turn an enemy to your cause, to use their own knowledge against them?
the legendary Dark Lord of the Sith Revan, is you, the player. The evil villain we have been hearing stories about throughout the game is us. After this revelation, we are challenged to a battle. With Malik freezing our two party members, we face our former apprentice, one-on-one. The fight ends after Bastila escapes from the Force stasis, then attacking Malik, having her and the Dark Lord be locked behind the door as she screams at us to escape and find the Star Forge. Back on the Hawk and narrowly escaping the Sith elite ship, we let the party know what happened about Bastila being captured, leading to Carth growing tiresome with the stalling of the gigantic secret hanging over ourselves and Carth's heads, wanting us to tell the crew that I am actually Revan, with the explanation of saying that I had lost my memory and that Revan is not the person I am anymore. Everyone after some thought is accepting of this revelation. It's quite sweet actually. Some say things you'd expect, some funny like the wise Jolie already knowing, along with HK-47's unlocked memory. A noteworthy thing to mention is that throughout the game there are side quests for your party members, some that we have completed already. I feel like mentioning these explains the context as to why they will still follow you to battle after hearing the news. To refresh, Mission's brother wasn't the person who she made him out to be, as he was always looking for the next get-rich scheme. Finally finishing up this side quest and giving Griff the item needed from Kashyyyk, we wait a while. When returning, we find out that he has left a message, stating that things went bad and he had fled the planet, unable to be contacted again. We know about Mission and Griff, she's made her peace with it. The same goes for Bastila and a side quest with her mother. Although she's now most likely been captured as opposed to killed, there is some hope that we can still find her. Bastila Shan would watch our character, who I'll now refer to as Revan, quite closely during our time together. This is to make sure that there are no old signs of the Dark Lord we used to be. It makes sense, as to begin with, she was very critical of us, until we began to build a trust, but this ended up leading to infatuation between the two, who before their capture, shed a kiss on the Ebon Hawk. Zalbar, we freed his home world from being slaves. T3M4 doesn't have any side quests unfortunately. I feel like this is the only character we don't really get much out of after Terrace. HK-47 we repair throughout the game, learning old stories of his past owners, leading to a cut-off point. After the Leviathan, we find out that HK-47 was made by Revan himself, so he is now back with his original owner, unlocking his memory bank fully, a probability chance only the Force could create. Also revealed is the origin of his famous meatbag labelling of living things he dislikes. Due to the droid calling Malik a meatbag, it put Revan into hysterics. So much that he programmed it into HK-47 to use more in dialogue. Juhani aims for revenge against a former slaver who bears her race a special grudge. He was a member of the fleet that attacked her homeworld and tried to purchase her when she was younger. It's hinted that he killed her parents, but we must not let her give in to her anger. Finally coming across him once again and fighting, we get the best of him. As he is dying, he tries to provoke Juhani, ending in her not giving in to the dark side, and leaving him to die instead of striking out of anger. Canderous is challenged by an old Mandalorian ally, who confronts him about his actions in one of the many battles in his Mandalorian stories he tells throughout the game, wanting to fight in the Dune Sea. Jagi mentions that he is a part of the crew in which Canderous thought he was the sole survivor in. This ends in Jagi committing suicide after the two meet and talk about their problems. Jolie has an old friend who is imprisoned on Manan, and we are chosen to represent him in court, granting him his freedom. Whether he actually committed the murder is up to interpretation. Then finally is Carth, who's notified of his son's survival, but is told that he has joined the Sith on Korriban, the planet we are heading for next to locate the final Star Forge map. For the final planet, we must gain access to the Sith Academy, where we are surrounded by people who are smug and relish in gloating. As a Jedi, we need to pretend that we are leaving the Jedi Order and lie our way into the Academy by obtaining a Sith medallion. Once inside, you'll meet Uthar Wynn, the head of the Academy. Explained to us as the prestige system, only one member of the Academy can join the Sith for the final challenge. To be in contention for this task, we must earn prestige through various activities around the Valley of the Dark Lords, a burial ground for the legendary Sith Lords. We can obtain the sword of Ajunta Paul and get in contact with his ghost, returning him to the light. Save a rogue assassin droid by pretending we activated a self-destruct sequence on it. Pretend to kill the renegade Sith students by helping them flee instead. Deal with the hermit in the hills, who happens to be Uthar's ex-master before he took control of the Sith Academy. There are many more to mention, of course. We must avoid the other Academy members as they will try to trick, rob and backstab us in the process. The main plan is to get light side points and help whoever we can, as opposed to being who the Sith expect us to be. Finding Dustil, Karth's son, who is now a Sith Academy member, the reunion doesn't go as expected, due to Dustil expressing that Karth had abandoned his wife and son after Telos, their home planet, got destroyed by the Sith. The conversation leads to Dustil telling his father that if he wants him to be convinced that the Sith are truly evil, he will need to require evidence as proof. During this time, we are propositioned by Euthora to kill Master Uthar and will help us get enough prestige to the final test, in turn making her the new leader of the Academy. She will give us a key to his quarters, in which we can plant a device that will hinder him, making him easier to defeat when we are to fight him. Whilst doing this quest, the party find a datapad containing information about killing Dustil's friend or love interest, a person that came with him to the Sith Academy, as they thought she was hindering his progress. Returning this evidence to Dustil will have him and Karth reconcile, planning to meet after all this is over.
I'll go back to Telos when this is over. You can find me there. Goodbye, Father.
Goodbye, son. Good luck.
Earning enough prestige and turning most of the students to the light, we enter the last tomb unexplored, the tomb of Naga Sado, and begin the final test, a quest we must do alone. The aim is to work our way through the tomb and retrieve a Sith ceremonial lightsaber. With the puzzles and beasts in our way, we alone make our way through to finally reach the end, collecting the lightsaber and also the final Starforge map, showing the location to the Starforge itself. As we head back, we face off against Master Uthar and defeat him. Talking to Euthora after, Revan manages to convince her to leave the Sith Order. Realizing that their master is dead, the entire Sith Academy will turn against us. Not a problem forever though, as we easily defend ourselves, leaving the Valley of the Dark Lords and the Academy a barren wasteland once more. During our time, we have been travelling to a space station orbiting Yavin 4. A merchant is on the ship and can sell us very rare items. With all the star maps collected, our next stop is the Starforge itself. This is where I'll spend my riches purchasing for the crew. As we save the merchant from being murdered by Trandoshans, the Rhodian aims to flee the station, so this is definitely the last chance to make purchases to anything I wanted. 2 items in particular have caught my eye, the rarest items in the game, 2 crystals. The first is called the Mantle of the Force. Its origins are unknown, but it was found in the ruins on Yavin 4. Adding this saber and combining it with other crystals warps their properties, often enhancing them to incredible levels. The second crystal is called Heart of the Guardian. This crystal had been instrumental in the founding of the Guardian Order of the Jedi. Both Sith and Jedi whisper their own legends. According to the Jedi, the heart will appear in a time of greatest turmoil and deliver the galaxy into salvation. The Sith, however, believe it to be an object of their heritage, which will bring the galaxy under their dominion. All known lightsaber crystals seem to have a strange resonance with the heart of the Guardian. Just like the previous crystal, their properties will be altered or enhanced when used with a saber. On our way to the Star Forge, there is a cutscene with Malik torturing Bastila, attempting to lure her to the dark side. This would be catastrophic for the Republic army, as if she turns, Malik will command her to use her battle meditation against the Republic. The crew need to try and find her before she either dies or unthinkably joins the Dark Order. Arriving at the Star Forge, we will end up crash landing on an unknown planet due to a strange interference tampering and damaging the Ebon Hawk systems. Landing safely on a beach shore, we enter a tranquil place with gorgeous scenery. If you were to be stuck on a planet, this one would be it. Until we explore further, that is. Leaving the area in which the Ebon Hawk is located, the party notice nearby ships we can search to pick up parts and repair our ship. During this time, we find 2 Rakata settlements that are at war with each other. With the first settlement we come across, we are brought to their leader called the One, who wishes to know the secrets of the other settlement, called the Elders. The Elders want to get their members that have been imprisoned back, whilst also aiming for a truce, ending the reckless war. Helping the Elders sounds peaceful, but returning to the One, they will attack on sight, thinking that they have been betrayed. With no choice but to defend ourselves, we make our way through and clear out their base, saving the prisoners, and in return, the Elders assist us in a ritual that will open a nearby temple that the Sith are occupying, clearly protecting something that is causing ships near the Star Forge to crash. Heading up to the temple summit, we finally find Bastila. She is alive. However, she is now the apprentice of Darth Malak, and has joined the dark side. In a tense conversation, Bastila gives us a choice to join her and kill Malak to conquer the galaxy for ourselves, but Revan refuses, leading to Bastila fleeing on her ship. Shutting down the jamming system, we can now repair the Ebon Hawk, knowing that it can safely take off again, and explain to the crew what has taken place. Now landing on the Star Forge and in contact with the Republic, the party are assisted by teams of Jedi throughout the ship. The further we go into the Star Forge, the more tougher and seemingly endless waves of enemies are in our way. Revan can also stumble across a room that can craft a Star Forge robe, which we will of course put on, as it gives great bonuses. Pressing our way through, we come into contact with Bastila once again, putting our chosen party members in stasis. We will now have to face her in battle, one-on-one. During breaks in combat, she will try one last time to convince you to turn to the dark side and rule the galaxy together. Confessing our love for Bastila and showing her the damage the dark side has caused makes her start questioning her motives. Given the choice to say that we trust her enough to leave ourselves open to attack, even after she had joined the dark side, with the potential to betray you, manages to turn her back to the light. From this point, she will continue to use her battle meditation, but for the Republic, turning the tide of the war. The only thing left to do now is to defeat Malak. The old master and apprentice come face to face one final time. Seemingly, whoever wins this fight will have the galactic-wide war won. The fight is evenly level for minutes, but Malak tries to recover health by draining the life from captured Jedi who are in a vegetative state, refusing to let them die and become one with the Force. With the Starforge corrupting what remains of their power and transferring their bodies into a dark taint inside to fuel Malak, we painstakingly have to keep on battling until all comatose Jedi pass, until finally we defeat the Dark Lord of the Sith, leaving the two to have one last conversation. This is a part where we can officially say that we have completed Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic the Canon way. This concludes with Malak questioning what if. What if the roles were reversed? Would he have gone down the same path as Revan, returning to the light? All of these thoughts are expressed as he comes to the realization that all of his aims for ultimate power were all for nothing. What is next for him is eternal darkness.
I cannot help but wonder, Revan, what would have happened had our positions been reversed? What if fate had decreed I would be captured by the Jedi? Could I have returned to the light as you did? If you had not led me down the dark path in the first place, what destiny would I have found? I suppose you speak the truth. I alone must accept responsibility for my fate. I wanted to be master of the Sith and ruler of the galaxy, but that destiny was not mine, Revan. It might have been yours, perhaps, but never mine. And in the end, as the darkness takes me, I am nothing.
With the Starforge now destroyed and ending the tyranny of Malak's Sith near Infinite Armada, the Ebonhawk crew are each presented with the Cross of Glory, the highest honour the Republic can bestow. From Coruscant to the farthest reaches of the Outer Rims, the party will be known as the Saviours of the Republic. A new story will be told for millennia, the redemption of Revan, the Prodigal Knight.